Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the bodies of the 7 people killed in that chopper crash brought to the capital. A man nursing wounds in hospital after being bitten by a shark. BPL affecting small and large businesses. Plus, it's National Pride Day.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. The bodies of 7 people killed in a helicopter crash near Grand Key arrived in New Providence this afternoon. American billionaire Chris Klein and one of his daughters is among the victims. Jasmine Brown spoke with the Abaco residents who discovered the submerged helicopter and helped retrieve the bodies.
Reactions quickly poured in as members of the Abaco community reacted to Klein's death. This as the bodies were transported here to New Providence today. The Bahamas air flight carrying the bodies of the 7 Americans killed in the crash landed at the Lynden Pinling International Airport shortly before 4 this afternoon after initially being transported to Grand Bahama. A line of hearses awaited their arrival before being escorted to the Princess Margaret Hospital by police. The families of those Americans killed are expected to visit the morgue to identify their loved ones sometime over the weekend. Officials confirmed the deadly incident on Thursday evening after a search team spearheaded by local residents discovered the crash site 2 miles off Grand Key shortly after 6 p.m. The discovery came 16 hours after the helicopter took off from Big Grand Key at 2 a.m. en route to Fort Lauderdale, but they were not reported missing until shortly after 2 p.m. However, a resident of nearby Grand Key and former Klein employee Matthew McIntosh says he knew something was wrong moments after the helicopter took off around 2 a.m.
We watched it land, and about half an hour, it took back up. As it took up, it didn't get very high. It went up, and about 5 minutes, it just broke. The light just disappeared, and it was a loud crash. It was a loud bang in the water. I would feel like something was wrong. We feel like, so what we did is we jumped in our boats and we went searching. This is like about 2:30 in the morning. And we went searching from about 2 till 4, about 4, almost 5 the next day. But where it was so dark, we really couldn't see anything because it was too dark. So we called back to the island and they're like, okay, no, the chopper is back in the States. So, okay, fine.
But as it turns out, everything was not fine, and McIntosh would later realize he watched his former boss's helicopter go down. He explained that by the next afternoon, word had spread that the helicopter carrying Klein, his daughter, and 5 others never made it to the United States. McIntosh says that's when residents realized something was deadly wrong, and he headed to Klein's private island to let employees know what he had seen in the early morning hours. McIntosh says the search team comprised local boaters and some of Klein's employees. A choked-up McIntosh explained the emotional moment they made the grim discovery.
It was very heartbroken. I can't describe it. I mean, everybody just was in a daze, Man, it was just tears, just tears. As they take the body out, they were there just pronouncing them dead. I checked all the bodies out. I took them, by them. The moment that when they pulled Chris out of the plane, then Mr. Klein actually, because he was one of the first one came out, and it was just, okay, this is setting.
McIntosh says what was even more tragic was the loss of so many young lives. Our news team obtained these photos showing divers searching for the helicopter and survivors. Police said the remains of 4 women and 3 men were discovered at the site. Klein, who would have celebrated his 61st birthday today, was reportedly on the aircraft with his daughter, a Florida mechanic, and some of his daughter's friends.
A kid came out, it was like about 4 kids, and they were like about 19 to 21 years of age. And to see that, their life just, it was just hard, Kids in their prime, just graduated from college, come over to have fun, and then boom, here today and gone tomorrow.
Another member of the search party, an Abaco native, McGarrett Russell, said he and his son were among the 12-member search party. He said they stumbled across an area that looked suspicious in the water. He says his son was one of the first to dive into the water and see everyone still strapped inside their submerged helicopter.
Because everybody was optimistic, not wishing for the worst, that might be survivors if it was the trap because it was close to the land. And when he went in, the water, he went down, free diving, and he came up shaking his head. Like, man, they didn't have no chance because my son, he had to take the pilot hand away from the throttle. It was very hard. He was stiff, you see. He said, and everybody was intact, as if no one was trying to even lose their seatbelt. Like, it was like sudden jet back. The doors was off. It was a serious impact.
Russell also revealed that everyone except the pilot had sustained head injuries. As the world mourns the American billionaire's death, both McIntosh and Russell say the Grand Key community is in mourning as they have lost one of their very own. They described Klein as a major donor to community projects, a man who never flaunted his wealth and was not afraid to get down and dirty with locals. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Chief Investigator Delvin Major announced today that the Air Accident Investigation Department is investigating the crash of the Augusta Spa helicopter, registration number N32CC. The AAID has dispatched a team of investigators to the crash site, and Major says they will be assisted by the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board and the Federal Aviation Administration, as well as the Transportation Safety Board of Canada. The manufacturer of the aircraft and engine will also be helping with the investigation, and a salvage team has been sent to recover the aircraft and transport it to Florida, where the inspection and investigation will be carried out. Major also noted investigators are mindful of the victims' families and the need for rapid answers. The U.S. Embassy also issued a brief statement saying officials were working closely with their Bahamian counterparts and providing consular services to the families. Major says a team will collect data, conduct witness interviews, as well as examine and photograph the wreckage before it is transported to the facility in Florida for further analysis. A Florida man was airlifted to Nassau last night after police say he was bitten by a shark. According to police reports, the 32-year-old tourist from Fort Lauderdale and two other Americans sailed into waters off Nippers Beach, Guanakee, on board a 41-foot boat. The man was reportedly snorkeling in the area Thursday afternoon when a shark bit him. Officers and EMS personnel in Marsh Harbor met the injured man at the Marsh Harbor dock. He was then transported to the nearby clinic where he was treated by a doctor. The tourist was then airlifted to New Providence around 8:55 last night for further medical treatment. His present condition is unknown. However, this latest shark attack comes 1 week after 3 sharks killed a 21-year-old California woman as she was snorkeling near Rose Island while vacationing in the Bahamas with relatives. In other news, businesses are losing big due to load shedding by Bahamas Power and Light. That's according to Bahamas Chamber of Commerce CEO Jeffrey Beckles, who says businesses are losing customers as well as equipment.
How are we planning to address the power generation needs of a growing and developing Bahamas?
As BPL continues to battle power generation issues, the Chamber of Commerce CEO says it's costing small and large businesses a pretty penny.
The issue is that businesses are in crisis because they're scrambling to try and keep their balances in their businesses. But the consumer is also being affected. You and I are being affected. And when we have power outages for consecutive days like we have, regardless of what the causes are, it's affecting us. So the crisis can be measured from different sides.
BPL has been load shedding for nearly 3 weeks now, leaving businesses and homes without power for hours. This as rental generators are currently being installed. BPL Chairman Dr. Donovan Moxey has refuted claims that the state-owned power company is dealing with a crisis. But Beckles said while BPL won't call it a crisis, for many small businesses it is.
Remember, a lot of our businesses are still open till late in the evening. In addition to that, we're running very strong occupancies, not only in the hotels proper, but in Airbnbs and other guest houses around the city of Nassau, who are also experiencing these challenges.
Public Works Minister Desmond Bannister has said relief should come for BPL customers by October, when the new generators are installed and functional. Beckles urged government to do whatever it must, as business owners are suffering.
So for him, that's a crisis. And so those are the kinds of things that we have to be concerned about, notwithstanding that BPL and its staff continue to do their best to work with what they have. What we can't negate is the experience we're having, and it's a tough one.
Well, many BPL customers are demanding a reduction in their power bill to make up for their frequent power outages. However, the company's chairman said he doubts that will happen. Jillian Gray has that.
Frequent power outages in recent weeks have prompted some consumers to call for a rate reduction in their power bill or some sort of incentive. BPL Chairman Donovan Moxey said he understands what a good faith gesture like that would mean for customers. However, the cash-strapped company is not in a position to do so.
We have no ability to adjust rates to our customers because we have to go through our utility, our regulator, which is IRCA. We just can't do that out of the box. The other thing that we also face is the fact that the fuel pass-through is a pass-through that's dictated by IRCA as well. And we are required to pass that on to our customers who consume electricity during that time period. And so for us to go out and determine what that particular give back would be is extremely difficult for us to determine in a regulated environment.
Moxey said the company is challenged with maintaining decades-old generators to the point where officials have to search the world for parts or ask regional counterparts for spare ones. Moxey said some of their generators date back to the 1960s, making maintenance and repair challenging. Along with the $95 million Warcilla plant that is expected to be up and running by the end of summer, the company chairman said they're also looking into renewable energy.
Both in the Family Islands as well in New Providence, and also too picking a fuel source such as LNG that's a lower cost and will be much more stable in the world market.
Moxey said a major maintenance overhaul will take place this winter, and once the $95 million plant is up and running, there will be no need for rental generators, which cost an estimated $2 million a month. We asked if this would mean lower power bills for consumers.
Customers will see the biggest impact on their bill with the fuel surcharge. In terms of changing of rates, anytime we do anything to adjust rates, we have to go to IRCA. What we have to think about is the long term. So BPL intends to keep rates as stable in where they are now for as long as we possibly can.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
All right, thanks, Jillian. Still to come, government officials kick off independence celebrations with National Pride Day. Stay tuned.